Any moons ago, the dollar was 870 lire and I was 32. The globe too was lighter by 2 billion souls, and the bar at the Stazione, where I arrived on that cold December night, was empty. I was standing there, waiting for the only person I knew in that city to meet me. She was quite late. This is the very start of the autobiographical essay written by Joseph Brodsky, which was originally written in English and which was called Watermark, and then it was translated into Russian and Italian. So here we are standing at the Stazione, where he first arrived to Venice, knowing a single word in Italian, of course at his first visit, which was espresso. This book is about Brodsky's attitude towards Venice, and each chapter is devoted to a separate episode of the author's visits to the city, or his thoughts, description of the atmosphere. He describes the smell of Venice like the smell of freezing seaweed, which is not a bad or a good description, but for me it seems quite accurate. Joseph Brodsky also writes a lot about buildings, about architecture, and of course about Venice labyrinths. Oh my gosh, will I get out of there? So you never know as you move through these labyrinths whether you are pursuing a goal or running from yourself, whether you are the hunter or his prey. Surely not a saint, but perhaps not yet a full-scale dragon. Hardly a Theseus, but not a maiden-starved Minotaur either. On the bright side there are of course lots of lions, winged ones with their books opened on "Peace upon you, Saint Mark the Evangelist," or lions of regular feline appearance. The winged ones, strictly speaking, belong in the category of monsters too. The one thing the locals never do is ride gondolas. To begin with, a gondola ride is pricey. Only foreign tourists and well-off ones at that can afford it. That's what explains the medieval age of gondola passengers. For the young, for example, for those whom this sort of thing would be appropriate, a gondola is as far out of reach as a 5-star hotel. According to Peter Weil, when he got acquainted with Joseph Brodsky, he used to live in Laundry Palace. Let's have a look. Also another spot on the map of Venice where Brodsky used to go. Florian Cafe. Brodsky describes Venezia as a remarkable place, a very beautiful, like from the postcard. And I must confess that he's right. Just have a look. That's incredible. That's what worries the band, or more exactly its conductors, the City Fathers. According to their calculations, this city during this century alone has sagged 23 centimeters. So what appears spectacular to the tourist is a full-scale headache for the native. And if it were only a headache, that would be fine. But the headache is crowned with an increasing apprehension, not to say fear, that what lies in store for the city is the fate of Atlantis. The fear is not without foundation, and not only because the city's uniqueness does amount to a civilization of its own. There were a lot of people, local and faintly international luminaries, politicos, nobles, the theater crowd, beards and escorts, mistresses of varying degrees of flamboyance, a bicycle star, American academics. Also a bunch of giggling, agile homosexual youths, inevitable these days whenever something mildly spectacular takes place. As a result, you shiver and go to bed with your woolen socks on because radiators keep the erratic cycles here even in hotels. Only alcohol can absorb the polar lightning shooting through your body as you set your foot on the marble. In his book, Brodsky writes that he will come to Venice, and if he runs out of money, he will not sit on train. He would buy himself a Browning and shut his brains off, being unable to die in Venice of natural causes. He didn't die in Venice, but his wife reburied him here in San Michele. Fondamenta degli Incurabili is a myth made by Brodsky. There is no such embankment in Venice with such name, but in medieval times there used to be a place with a hospital where hopeless sick people with plague, or according to other sources with syphilis, were brought. And this place is now Fondamenta Zattere. So in fact this Fondamenta exists, and here we are. Allora, che cos'è? The proof that the whole story existed. Oh gosh, I walked for miles to look for this. Think it was Hazlitt who said that the only thing that could beat this city of water would be a city built in the air. Joseph Brodsky, Fondamenta degli Incurabili.